Hey guys, it's Ellie and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm recommending you short story books once again because a lot of you wanted me to tell you about more short stories, and also it's my favorite genre, so I know about a lot of short story books and short story writers. So I'll probably be making at least 4 to 5 short story recommendation videos, and this is only the second. So make sure to subscribe in case you want to stay tuned. And without any delay, just let's get into it. The first writer whom I'll be recommending today is Siddhartha Sonmanto. A lot of you wanted me to recommend him in the next video because obviously Manto is awesome. There's a really fat book in our college library called Bitter Fruit, which has so many short stories by Siddhartha Sonmanto, and his stories are absolutely heartbreaking. His stories basically outline partition and independence and how horrific those times were due to communal strife. His stories are extremely explicit in sexual imagery, so maybe you do not want to read it unless you're 13 or 14 because it is extremely very disturbing when you're reading it. I remember when we heard about Siddhartha Sonmanto on our first day in college, and his stories are extremely so disturbing that all of us were in shock that how can a man write such things. And then we realized that if such things are happening in the society, what's wrong about writing it? And Siddhartha Sonmanto did get in a lot of problems for writing what he did, but his stories are a must read and you need to be prepared to read his stories. I highly recommend that you get the collection Bitter Fruit if you can on Amazon, but there are many other collections that you can get your hands on, but I think no book has so large a collection as Bitter Fruit. Obviously he did not write originally in English, but even the translations are worth it. Next, I will be recommending Anton Chekhov's short stories. Absolutely love them. I have been reading Anton Chekhov more than ever right now because I have an amazing Prajapati book. But the thing is, Prajapati books are very cheap, but the binding came off. That's why I can't pick it up because the binding is gonna fall out. But Prajapati book is good in case you are broke. I got a collection of 100 stories of Anton Chekhov at just about 150 rupees, which was really good. But obviously if it's cheap, the binding has to be not so good. But anyway, coming back, Anton Chekhov's writing style is absolutely amazing. He highlights these lonely, extremely lonely livelihoods and extremely lonely people going on living the way they want to, and most of the short story writers are actually highlighting lonely lives and the monotonous routine that keeps going on despite knowing that we can do something to go out of this monotonous routine. We just choose not to and keep living the way we do because we do not dare disturb the universe. Quoting from the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock. It's absolutely amazing how Anton Chekhov writes. One of his best short stories is The Lady with the Dog, which is a favorite of mine. It highlights the life of one unfaithful man and another unfaithful woman coming together. They know that both of them are doing wrong things. They know that they can be happy together, but they both go on in the same life. And I'm so sorry if this was a spoiler. Okay, I did not intend to. But the thing is, most of Anton Chekhov's stories are about that, the inevitability of nothingness, and I absolutely love his stories. But obviously there are so many other motifs and symbols in his stories that you will enjoy when you're reading him. Moving on, let's talk about one of the most prolific writers of all time, James Joyce. If I'm recommending short stories and I don't take the name of Dubliners, you'll be like, what are you talking about? So yeah, make sure you're reading Dubliners. Dubliners is an amazing story about people living in Dublin, and it's written by James Joyce, who is one of the best writers of all time. He was writing during the modern period. What makes Joyce's stories so remarkable is the small things coming together to create something really large. However, if you're reading Joyce, make sure you have somebody to guide you about how to read Joyce and how to interpret him, because Joyce's writing style is extremely complicated and I had to read his stories 2 or 3 times to understand what it was about. Then I had to consult stuff on Google and Wikipedia to understand it even better, because his writing style is sort of like, it's very different from the writing style that I've ever read. It's very good, definitely, but I find it very hard to understand unless I have someone to guide me, and maybe it's the same with you, so make sure you're doing that. I'd really like to know about your thoughts on the story called Dead, which is the most famous short story of Joyce. Again, Araby is a very famous short story as well. It is in our syllabus of college. But Araby is comparatively easier because we have had it explained so many times. Jhumpa Lahiri, one of my favorite writers, has written an amazing short story book called Interpreter of Maladies. It highlights the story of Indians living in Boston, most of them Bengali, and Jhumpa Lahiri's writing style is absolutely amazing. The way Jhumpa Lahiri writes about traditional Indian and Bengali things in her book explicitly and intriguingly is absolutely something that I dig, and that's the reason why I fell in love with Jhumpa Lahiri's writing style in the first place. But Jhumpa Lahiri's stories do have sexual elements in them, so make sure you're not letting children near her book. In a video called Books That Will Blow Your Mind, I told you guys about Roald Dahl's short story collection, which is a really fat book with almost all his short stories of all time. But if you want to pick out a particular short story collection by Roald Dahl, let it be this book called Kiss Kiss, and it's absolutely amazing. And just let me tell you, it's nothing romantic. It's far away from romance. It's just psychological horror and pathetic things happening throughout the book, things that will mess with your mind. And that book gives pleasure to those who are fond of dark humor. Dark humor is Roald Dahl's forte, and I have no idea how a man who has written a book like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory can write a story like Lamb to the Slaughter. But yeah, he has, and he's absolutely amazing at it. And last but not the least, I'll recommend you to read short stories by Kate Choppa. I absolutely loved The Awakening, and in case you're reading Kate Choppa, the first story that I think you must read is The Story of an Hour. It's hardly a 4 to 5 page read. It's there in the syllabus of IC students this year, and it's an amazing story about how women are breaking free. And oh god, that story was... I really, a half of me wants to tell you guys about The Story of an Hour, so I'll be telling this story to you guys, so it'll be a spoiler. The spoiler warning is here. Skip to the time mentioned here in case you don't want to listen to the spoiler, because I really am going to tell you guys the story of an hour, because it's just a story of a minute in terms of this video. So the story of an hour begins with this woman whose husband has passed away. So her sister Josephine is thinking that my sister is weak at heart, so she may have a heart attack when she hears that her husband has passed away, because obviously she loved her husband, and the shock, the grief of her husband's death must be too much for her. But so Josephine just goes and tells her sister that your husband has died. The lady, she is extremely sad, definitely, and she does start crying, and then she goes into her room and closes the door. Initially she was crying because she was sad. Then she suddenly felt so happy that her husband has died, because now she is free to do anything she wants. And this is the level of the thoughts of women, that she was now happy that her husband is dead. She started shouting free, 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 because she was feeling free. Outside, Josephine is listening to her shout inside. Josephine is worried that her sister may have a heart attack in grief. But in the end, we find out she did have a heart attack, but not in grief, but in the happiness that she was now free from her husband's shackles. This story moved me so much, because the time when it was written, women were being extremely dominated by men, and they were trying to break free, and Kate Choppa captures that. Make sure you're buying these books from the links in the description below, because that helps me a lot in keeping posting content on my channel. In case you want to support me directly, you can do that by sending Amazon gift cards to my email ID, which is in the description below, because your donations keep my channel going. If you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. In case you guys want to tell me about some short story books that I must read and be recommending in the next video, make sure you're commenting below. Make sure that you are not asking me why I did not show these books. Can you see my shelf situation? I am literally out of space, and right now I'm saving money, so I'm only buying books on my Kindle, like I'm trying to, or I'm borrowing them from library. I am saving money. I'll get a new bookshelf real soon, but till then, to control my shelf situation, I have to restrict my book buying. And till my next video, bye bye. So you're taking care that you're not letting any children near it. Her stories do have sexual elements in them. Now, Jhumpa Lahiri's stories do have sexual elements in them, so make sure you're not letting children near her book. Warning is here, so skip to the time mentioned here. Make sure you're buying these books from the link. Make sure you're buying these books from the links. And if you like